I thought I knew my father until I found secret photos, a second home, and 2 siblings I never met. What I did next shocked my whole town and tore our family apart. My mom's voice trembled as she confronted him. "Who is she, Tom? Why are there photos of another woman in your drawer?" My father froze, his face paling. I could hear my own heart pound in my ears as I stood in the hallway, watching the scene unfold. Mom held the incriminating photo album in her hand. One page turned back to reveal a picture of Dad smiling beside a woman I had never seen before, her hand resting on his arm like it belonged there. This was nothing like the father I knew. "Diane, I can explain," Dad stammered, tears brimming in his eyes. Mom's face crumpled with a mix of confusion and anger. "Explain?" she repeated, voice shaking. "All these years you have been lying to us? To me?" A low sob escaped her lips as she searched his eyes for answers. I remained silent, numb. Part of me wanted to flee, to escape the unbearable scene. Instead, I stood rooted, heart pounding, as I waited for Dad to speak. All the things I had brushed aside in the past started flashing through my mind. The secret phone calls he hurriedly ended when I walked in the room. The weekends, he said, were business trips. The fragrance in his coat that never smelled like the aftershave I knew. At the time, I had chalked them up to stress or travel, innocent enough. Now, every little, "Please," Dad whispered, turning to my mom, his voice cracking. "I never meant to hurt you. I thought I could handle it, that it would just stay." He couldn't finish the sentence, his eyes full of shame. Mom shook her head in disbelief. "Handle it," she spat. "You think this is something to handle? You think our life is a game?" Her hand gripped the photo album so tight the corners dug into her palm. "Your double life is tearing us apart." My chest felt tight. I should have been angry too, shouting at him for lying to us all. Instead, I was frozen, watching my family fracture before my eyes. The man I had always trusted, my hero, my father, was suddenly a stranger. Dad stepped forward, gently trying to take Mom's hand. "You've given me everything," he said softly. "You and the kids. I had a moment of weakness." I flinched at his words. Weakness? As if this was just some mistake? Mom wrenched her hand away, taking a step back. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she pressed a trembling finger against his chest. "How could you? After everything, our vows, our kids, I thought I knew you." She swallowed hard, gaze burning with hurt. "Why did you do it? Why her?" For a long moment there was only silence, broken by the distant tick of the clock on the wall. Dad looked as if he might collapse. Finally, he managed to whisper, "I met her 2 years ago. I thought it was all over between us after the divorce papers were signed." Mom gasped. "Divorce? What divorce?" Dad looked down, unable to meet our eyes. I thought you wouldn't care if we ended it quietly. I have a second family, Diane. Her name is Rebecca, and we have 2 kids." My world spun. 2 kids. As my name echoed through my mind, it felt suddenly heavy. Everything I knew about my dad, about our family, was crumbling. Mom collapsed onto the couch behind her, sobbing, clutching the photo album. I slumped to the floor, my back against the wall, trying to make sense of the words. Minutes passed like hours. I sat between the walls of my own home, feeling isolated. The voices of my parents faded into the distance as I fought the wave of nausea and disbelief washing over me. I had always trusted Dad. He taught me how to ride a bike, how to stand up for myself, how to dream. And now, in a single conversation, he'd turned into someone I barely recognized. The last thing I remembered before my head swam with pain was Dad giving a strangled apology and the front door clicking shut as he left the house. I was left with shattered illusions and a mind racing with questions that had no answers. Update 1. Hidden clues. I blinked, trying to clear my vision. When my mother stopped sobbing, I quietly got up from the floor and moved to join her on the couch. She was still shaking, clutching the photo album like it was a lifeline. The room felt unbearably silent, broken only by the sound of her ragged breathing. I dared not speak at first. Finally, I mustered the courage. "Mom, My voice cracked. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. She wiped her tears with her sleeve and managed a weak smile, reaching for my hand. Oh, honey, she sniffled, voice trembling. This isn't your fault, sweetheart. Your dad, he made promises to us. I squeezed her hand gently. Why didn't you tell us anything? I whispered, partly to her and partly to myself. I had suspicions, I thought. Mom shook her head, eyes filled with pain. I didn't want to believe it was true. I saw signs, but I hoped I was wrong. Her words trailed off, and she turned to stare at the portrait of our family on the wall. A couple of months ago, I found a reservation in his briefcase at a hotel downtown on the night of his birthday. When I asked him about it, he said it was for a conference. I said I'd believe him. She took a shaky breath and continued. He was late for our anniversary dinner, said there was a meeting, but he never showed up that night. A painful memory surfaced. The night Dad celebrated our anniversary without Mom, I had wondered why. She paused as tears welled up again. I also noticed he was dressing differently, wearing a faint perfume that wasn't his. At first I thought maybe it was a gift from you or Jake, or that he changed cologne. At this, I felt the pieces snapping into place. So you knew? I asked softly. Mom gave a sad nod. I had my suspicions, but you and Jake needed your parents. I didn't want to shatter our happy family if I was wrong. She sniffed, letting her head fall against mine. I should have trusted my instincts. I should have protected you kids better. I held her, comforted her as best I could. In that moment, despite my own hurt, I felt a surge of determination. Mom was right. Our family unit was being shattered. But I promised myself then, I wouldn't let it break us completely. We will get through this together, I whispered. That night, I lay awake in my childhood room, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling. Memories flashed by, playing catch with Dad in the yard, his warm laugh filling the air. My high school graduation day when he danced with me at the party, proud tears in his eyes. Suddenly, almost absurdly, I wondered, how could the man who taught me about honesty and integrity be capable of this? Then, clearer memories came. The time he had a sudden headache during a family picnic and left abruptly to freshen up. Or when I borrowed his phone and quickly scrolled past a message from someone named Rebecca, my name day from 2 years ago, before I saw it. I remembered how I felt a fleeting pang of guilt for snooping, so I lied and said I hadn't seen anything. I cursed myself now for that moment of weakness. I could have asked him then, before everything changed. My thoughts drifted to Jake. I padded down the hallway to his room, knocked, and let myself in. He was on his bed, listening to music with his headphones. I removed one. Jake, hey, I said softly. He looked up, his eyes red. I heard everything. Jake pulled off both headphones. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. He shook his head, disbelieving. How could he do this? We grew up with Dad. He was always there for us. I know, I said, sitting beside him. I feel the same way. It's like I've been living a lie. But we have to be strong for Mom. Jake nodded slowly, crossing his arms around his knees. I feel lost all of a sudden. It's like I don't know my own father anymore. I sighed, running a hand through my hair. It's okay to feel that way. We're allowed to be angry. But we also need to figure out what to do next. He glanced at me. Do you think Dad will come back? Will he try to explain more? I was silent. I didn't know. Part of me wanted answers too, but another part knew answers wouldn't heal this pain. I don't know, Jake. Maybe he'll realize the mess he's made. Jake looked out the window, voice thick with emotion. And what about them? He asked quietly. Those other kids? They have no idea what's happening either. My heart sank. Jake was right. My mind flashed back to things Dad had done that suddenly made sense. Like the time we found an extra blanket on Dad's side of the bed, or how Mom always woke up with almond-scented sheets. None of it added up until now. It felt like my whole life had flipped upside down. I held my brother's shoulder. "We'll figure it out," I said, forcing a confidence I didn't feel. One step at a time. Update 2. Leaning on loved ones. The next morning I slept in, fatigued and haunted by the turmoil of the night. When I finally got out of bed, Jake was already up eating cereal in the kitchen. He gave me a weak grin as I poured coffee into my mug. "Rough night?" he asked softly, not needing an answer. I nodded, blinking back dark circles under my eyes. "I talked with Mom for a while. She said she's going to consult a lawyer about divorce." Jake exchanged a glance with me. "Did you tell Mom about Mia?" I sighed, stirring cream into my coffee. "Not yet. I just needed to process this myself, or at least try. But I think I should." I ran a hand through my hair. "I mean, Mia deserves to know what's going on with me." He nodded. "She'll want to support you. Let me know if you need anything, bro." His support warmed me more than I expected. "Thanks, Jake. It means a lot." Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Mia. "Hey, haven't heard from you. Everything okay?" I tapped a quick reply that I was coming over. The goodbye to Jake was as normal as I could muster. Mom was still upstairs, crying in bed. The drive to Mia's place felt unreal. I sat there for a moment before texting again. "Can I come over? I need to talk." Her reply was immediate. "Of course, I'll be waiting." When I arrived, Mia rushed to greet me, immediately sensing something was wrong. She didn't ask questions right away. Instead, she hugged me tightly. I buried my face against her shoulder, breathing in her comforting scent. I could feel her heart beating as she murmured, "You're safe now." We settled into her cozy living room, a pot of herbal tea steaming on the coffee table between us. Mia looked at me with concern. "Okay, you can talk now. What's going on?" she said gently. I took a shaky breath. I swallowed hard. "Dad, he was living a double life." Mia blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" I ran my fingers through my hair, trying to steady myself. "Our whole life has been a lie. My dad has another wife and kids." I watched her eyes widen as the words tumbled out. "Mom found out yesterday, saw pictures, she confronted him, and he admitted it." My voice broke. "He told us he had a second family, Rebecca and her 2 children." Mia gasped softly. "Oh my God, Jake and your mom, what did they say?" "Mom was devastated. Jake and I are a mess," I admitted, tears pricking my eyes. "I can't believe someone I love can do something like this. I feel so angry and hurt," I admitted. Mia reached across the table and held my hand. "I'm so sorry," she said quietly. "I can't even imagine how you must feel. He was always Dad, right?" I squeezed her hand gratefully. "Yeah, he was my hero. Now it feels like he's a stranger." I let the words out, raw. The room went silent for a few beats as Mia absorbed this. "Ick." She gently placed her free hand on my face. "I don't know what I would do in your situation," she admitted, eyes shining with compassion. "But I'm here for you, every step of the way. You are not alone." Her words brought me to tears. Relief flooded me. Only someone who truly cared would make me feel safe amid this chaos. I leaned against her shoulder and let the tears come. "Thank you," I whispered. "I don't want to lose our life. I don't want to lose you." Mia hugged me again. "You won't," she promised. "We'll get through this together. Whatever you need, I'm here. You and your family." We spent the next hour talking. I told her all the details that my mom and Jake had shared. The hotel reservation, the perfume, the name Rebecca. Mia listened quietly, never judging or interrupting, just holding me when I cried and wiping my tears gently. Mia frowned thoughtfully as I finished. "Have you talked to Rebecca yet? Or her kids?" she asked after a while, trying to understand everything. I shook my head. "No, not yet. Mom wants to sort things legally first, I think. I'm not even sure how to approach that." Mia gently suggested, "Maybe it's best to make sure your mom and you guys are safe and supported first. But you're right, you'll eventually have to meet them. They must feel as shocked as you are." I nodded. It was true. Rebecca and her children were probably just as blindsided as my mom and brother. Suddenly, a knot formed in my stomach at the thought. But a part of me was curious, perhaps out of a strange sense of responsibility or just simple human need to connect. Mia pulled me into another hug. "You are strong," she whispered. "We all believe in you. Your mom, Jake, me, and maybe meeting them won't be easy, but it might help somehow." As the afternoon sunlight dimmed, we let the warmth of friendship and love carry us a little. Mia promised to help me with anything I needed, to sit with me through phone calls, to act as moral support if I wanted to reach out to Rebecca or legal counsel, to simply be there. By the time I drove home that evening, a piece of my broken heart felt a little less shattered. With Mia by my side, I felt more prepared to face whatever came next. The road ahead would still be painful, but I knew I would not walk it alone. Update 3. Unveiled Connections. A few days later, Mom suggested we meet Rebecca and the kids together to face this truth head-on. My heart hammered in my chest as we walked into the quiet cafe where the meeting had been arranged. Diane, Jake, and I sat at one side of a round table. Across from us sat a shaken-looking woman and two younger people. Rebecca cleared her throat softly, eyes reddened. "I'm Rebecca," she said, offering a strained smile and extending her hand. My mother, Diane, met it with a gentle squeeze and reply, "I'm Diane." For a moment, we all just sat, unsure of who should speak first. Around us, the clinking of cups and murmur of other patrons felt miles away. I realized I was staring at the youngest girl, who sat close to Rebecca, hesitantly biting her lip. She looked familiar in a strange way. Maybe because Ethan, the older boy, had a jawline oddly similar to Dad's. It made the situation even weirder. Rebecca took a breath. "I'm so sorry you had to find out this way," she said, voice trembling. We had no idea. Tom told us that you already suspected something." Her lips trembled as she looked at Ethan, 19, and Lily, 16. "We were just as shocked. I couldn't believe it when he told me about your mom." She wiped her eyes. "This isn't how any of us wanted our families to meet." Diane's eyes were wet. "No, it isn't," she said softly, turning to me. "Are you okay, honey?" I managed a nod and a small smile. "I'm trying to be." My throat felt tight. "I just want you to know, I had no idea about your family until yesterday." Ethan, sitting next to his mother, ran a hand through his hair. "So basically, all these years, Dad has been lying to all of us?" he asked quietly. It was a statement rather than a question, filled with hurt and anger. "He never told me I had a brother or sister," Lily next to him spoke up, quietly. I always wondered why I sometimes felt like something was missing. Maybe this answers it. Her eyes darted to me. She was younger, but already wise beyond her years. I took a deep breath. "I never knew I had any other siblings," I admitted. "It's like my whole childhood suddenly got stretched out unexpectedly." I offered them a tentative smile. I don't know. I guess this is us now." Ethan managed a bitter chuckle. "Yeah, us." Rebecca covered Lily's hand with hers. "I imagine this hurts all of us," she said quietly. "Our kids, your mom, me. It's a nightmare." Mom reached forward and gently touched Rebecca's arm. "We are all hurting, but we can help each other through this. We're connected now, whether we wanted to be or not." Her voice was determined and compassionate. "Maybe starting by being open with each other is the best we can do." Lily looked at me with the same shy intensity she had before. Tentatively, she stood up and walked over, hand outstretched. "Hi, I'm Lily," she said to me as I stood as well. Before I could say anything, she pulled me into a quick hug. I was startled at first, but realized she needed it. "Hi, Lily," I said, returning the hug gently. When we separated, I knelt down to give her a friendly smile. "Nice to meet you." She wiped a tear from her cheek. "I know this is crazy," she mumbled. Crazy doesn't begin to cover it. I agreed, standing up. Ethan rose from his seat and introduced himself more curtly. And I'm Ethan. He stuck out his hand to me. Brother, he added with a half grin, trying to lighten the tension. Nice to meet you too, Ethan, I said, and shook his hand. We all lapsed into silence. I could see Mom wiping her own tears. Jake was quiet on my other side, but I felt a reassuring squeeze on my knee from him. Gavi. For a moment, Ethan broke the quiet. So what now? His voice was hollow. I could feel the same question gnawing in my own chest. Mom took a slow breath. First, I think we all need a chance to process this properly. Legally, I'll be filing for a divorce, of course, and I know Rebecca will do what she feels is right for her family as well. But emotionally, maybe the best thing right now is that we try to look out for each other's kids. Rebecca nodded, voice still catching on sobs. Yes, definitely. She glanced at Ethan and Lily, who were both trembling. They deserve some stability, even if we've never been a family before. She managed a sad smile. I felt suddenly protective. Despite everything, these were my siblings, half-siblings technically, but no less real to me. The knowing glance Lily and I had shared tugged at my heart. They should also know the truth about their father from someone who cares about them, I found myself saying. Rebecca looked at me in surprise. Would you do that? I shrugged, feeling a little more certain than before. When you're ready, I can be there for them too. We can help each other figure out what to do. Lily sniffled. Thank you, it's just so weird. Ethan exhaled. Yeah, really weird, but thank you for meeting us. It means a lot. Mom smiled supportively at all of us. We will get through this together. It might not feel like it now, but we are families now, in a strange way. We have to hold on to something. We finished our coffees quietly, talking a little more about the practical stuff, exchanging phone numbers and keeping each other informed. As we left the cafe, I gave Lily and Ethan brief, awkward hugs. We promised to stay in touch. Walking out into the afternoon light, I felt a strange comfort. Despite the pain, I was no longer alone in this. As bizarre as it was, somehow finding each other felt like finding a missing piece. The truth had hurt us all, but maybe it could also bring us together in a new way. Update 4. Legal storm. Reality hit hard the day after our meeting with Rebecca. Mom finally went ahead with the divorce papers. I remember sitting at the kitchen table with her lawyer spread out on the table, deadlines and signatures looming. Diane looked pale but determined as she signed the paperwork. Next to her, I signed as a witness. Jake had been too numb to do much, but even he had to initial a page or two. Our parents' split was suddenly official, even though Dad was nowhere to be found to contest it. Diane left a message on his phone. I filed for divorce. You won't see us again until you deal with this. It never got returned. On my way to class that week, I overheard whispers at school about that teacher who had 2 families. My mind flashed to Dad's job. He was a history professor at the local college. I had always admired him and even got extra help from him after school. Now, I worried what the students and faculty were saying behind his back. Sure enough, by Friday, a notice went around campus that Professor Stevens, that was Dad's last name, was on leave pending personal issues. I cringed at the phrasing. It meant the rumors had reached him. Suddenly, I felt guilty that something like this could tarnish his hard-earned reputation. That weekend, I came home to find a heated argument between the 2 mothers. I had only just settled Lily on the couch with some hot chocolate when I heard raised voices. I quietly listened from the doorway of the kitchen. He's not entitled to anything we have, Diane was saying, slamming a hand on the counter. All those years, he treated us like a backup plan. If he thinks he deserves half of this, he's mistaken. Rebecca fired back, voice trembling with anger. We have rights too, Diane. Don't pretend this hurts less for us. We're watching everything he had built come apart, just like you are. The words cut deep. I recognized that raw hurt in Rebecca's eyes, reflecting the same pain I saw in my mom's face. They turned to me when the door creaked. Go wait in your room, sweetie, Diane said, softer now. I slipped back quietly but felt as though I had been betrayed all over again. Dad had ruined 2 families and pitted the women he loved against each other. I wanted to shout at them to stop fighting, but I simply retreated to my room with Lily's miniature drawing set and tried to distract her. Later that night, I found Mom sitting at her computer, reading what looked like a statement of assets. Jake sat beside her, looking equally lost. "They're saying he could claim up to half the house," Mom said, eyes glassy. "We've barely paid it off, but it's ours." She clicked through a spreadsheet she had made of our savings and his. Jake rubbed the back of his neck. "Mom, why would we even let him do that? He doesn't deserve it." Diane looked at Jake with tears in her eyes. "I know, but legally, if we don't come to an agreement, it could be in the hands of a judge." She sighed, hands shaking. "I have lawyers setting up trust accounts, splitting assets, you name it. It's all a mess." All I felt was frustration and fear. Our entire comfortable life had become a legal minefield. I also worried about Lily's future. She was still in high school. My parents had always said they'd pay for her college. Now, with the money tied up in legal fees and potential settlements, that promise felt shaky. Rebecca, for her part, was furious and hurt. Over the phone one night, she said to me softly, "We might need to ask for alimony and support for Lily, because she can't just be forgotten." I nodded, supporting her decision. They will have to account for everything. I just felt powerless watching our lives be weighed in courts and documents. It felt far removed from the family I remembered growing up in. As the papers piled up, I took comfort in one fact. No matter what happened with Dad's estate or his job, we already had everything we needed, each other. Mom was right to stand her ground, but I also understood Rebecca's anger. We had both been betrayed. That night, I called Mia. She listened quietly as I vented about everything I had seen. When I finished, her voice was gentle but firm. "This is Dad's mess, not yours," she said. "You have each other. You have your mom and your new siblings. No lawyer or judge can take that away." I felt a bit of peace hearing her words. Yes, everything was in chaos, but Mia was right. It was beyond our control. We could focus on what we still had, the connections we were building between our 2 families. And one day, when all this was done, we would look back and know that we faced it together. Update 5. Building bridges. Over the following weeks, I slowly started reaching out to Lily and Ethan whenever I could muster the courage. First, just text messages. Simple, "Hi, how are you?" that I was too nervous to send in person. To my relief, Lily texted back almost immediately. One afternoon, I was at a coffee shop studying and saw my phone light up. It was a message from Lily. "Hey, thanks for checking on me. It's been really hard." Her words warmed me. I replied, "I know it must be so confusing, but I'm here if you ever want to talk or hang out." I think it was the first real conversation we'd had. Not long after, Lily texted me a photo of her new art project, a painting of a large tree with 2 houses under it, one on each side of the tree. She captioned it, "2 homes, 1 family." I felt a lump in my throat. I typed back, "It's beautiful, Lily. You are beautiful." Meanwhile, I figured Jake would get along with Ethan, so one Saturday I invited Ethan over. At first, Ethan seemed stiff in our living room as Jake and I sat him down with a pizza. He shrugged off Jake's attempt at small talk, but after a while he finally started to relax. I watched Jake and Ethan gradually open up. They talked about how Dad used to laugh at the same old jokes, how he'd take us all camping at Lake Harmon on summer weekends, and how Ethan had once snuck out of his soccer practice to see our games. They exchanged memories. Jake even mentioned the wolf mug from Dad's kitchen, the one he never threw out. Instantly they both laughed, the tension breaking just a little. They continued trading memories, shifting from anger to tears to even a bit of laughter. By the time evening came, it felt like there was a real connection forming. Before he left, Ethan clasped my shoulder and said quietly, "Thank you for making the effort. I feel a little less alone now." My chest swelled. "Me too," I admitted, and we bumped fists goodbye. Later that night, I found Lily curled up on the couch at Mom's house, reading on a tablet. She looked up when I came in. "Hey," I said softly, sitting beside her. "You okay?" Lily sniffed. "Yeah, I thought you wouldn't come." Her voice was small but steady. "I would never not come," I replied firmly, feeling protective. "We need each other." She nodded and leaned into me. My mom is really hurt. She's always crying or angry. I don't know what to do. I pulled her into a gentle hug, ruffling her hair. I know. Our mom is too, Diane. But look at us. We're from those two mothers and one man. We're a little more than strangers now. We can stick together. Lily managed a small smile. You always know the right thing to say. I smiled back, brushing a strand of her hair from her face. I guess I've had some practice. We spent the rest of the evening talking quietly. She told me about school, and I helped her with some math problems. And we even laughed about Dad's habit of singing off-key in the shower. For a couple of hours, it felt almost normal, and it warmed my heart to see her relax even a little. A week later, Mia joined us, bringing takeout. We all sat in the living room like family. Mia charmed Ethan with stories about the pranks Jake and I used to pull on Dad in college, making him laugh. Lily showed Mia a painting she'd made for me, with figures of our little blended family under a big sun. I felt tears prick my eyes at the innocent drawing. As time passed, these gatherings became more common. We celebrated birthdays together, 2 cakes, one for Diane's family and one for Rebecca's, and by mutual agreement, even a birthday for Dad. Not to make him happy, but as a strange family tradition. Neither Dad nor his behavior was ever openly discussed, but we shared glances and quiet nods of understanding at each gathering. I began to appreciate the beautiful oddity of our situation. With every laugh and conversation, our lives knit closer. The siblings across families had truly become brothers and sisters. The day Lily shyly asked me to co-host a movie night at her house while Rebecca worked late, I realized how far we had come. Ethan and Jake even started coordinating visits to play video games on weekends, just like my old high school buddies. We also grieved together. When thoughts of Dad crept up, I no longer felt isolated. I had half-siblings who remembered him with the same complexity and love as I did. I felt Dad's love in the room. For a moment, I felt like he was watching and proud. My heart ached, but I smiled anyway, and loved like never before. The ache of the past year was still there. I missed my dad terribly, but I also felt joy and love flooding in. I hoped he would have been happy to see this day. We had celebrated our old traditions and even created new ones. On Father's Day, I took the lead in cooking breakfast for all of us. Now, it felt right to include Ethan and Lily in those moments, to honor the whole family Dad left behind. We knew he wouldn't come back, but at least we were building a future together without secrets or lies. Update 6. 1 year later, new beginnings. 1 year had passed since that night when everything fell apart. Now I stood in a sharp suit at the altar, heart pounding for a different reason. Sunlight streamed through stained glass. My hands were clammy, but this time it was with excitement and hope. The chapel felt warm, a gentle breeze stirring the pages of the old hymn book. My mother Diane and Rebecca sat side by side in soft blue dresses. Next to Diane was Jake in a suit, and on Rebecca's side were Lily and Ethan. They all looked nervous and proud. Mia appeared at the chapel door, walking toward me in a simple white dress, radiant. As she approached, I thought of her promise. We'll get through this together. We had. I realized we had turned our brokenness into something beautiful. The ceremony began quietly. I took Mia's hand as the minister spoke of love and trust. In that moment, I realized I already felt that trust. In Mia, in these people beside us, and in this new life we had built together. I meant every word from the bottom of my heart. These walls had heard heartbreak before, but now they stood witness to hope. This day was proof that love could heal old wounds. Seeing Diane and Rebecca together made me believe in second chances. All that pain led to this moment. Love. When it was time to speak our vows, I looked at everyone I loved. Diane gave me an encouraging nod, and Rebecca's eyes were shining with tears. You are my family, I whispered when it was our turn to exchange vows. Not just today, but forever. I promise to cherish you all and build a life where we all belong. Lily and Ethan were next to us. After the vows, I hugged Lily first and told her how grateful I was. It was surreal to hug them as family after everything that had happened. She wiped her eyes and whispered, I wouldn't have made it without you. Ethan grinned when Jake ruffled his hair and joked, Team Stevens, we got this. Finally, I embraced Diane. She kissed my cheek and said softly, "I'm so proud of you." In that moment, the ache of the past year was still there. I missed my dad terribly, but I also felt joy and love flooding in. I felt Dad's love in the room. For a moment, I felt like he was watching and proud. My heart ached, but I smiled anyway. And loved, like never before. I hoped he would have been happy to see this day. The reception was lively with music and laughter. The buzz of celebration felt like a second chance at life. We had 2 wedding cakes on a table, one for each of our mothers. As everyone ate and danced, I overheard Diane and Rebecca talking about future family get-togethers, and Jake and Ethan planning a hiking trip together. Even in casual conversation, it felt like we were becoming one big family. At our first dance, I held Mia close and looked around at the smiling faces. Mothers, brothers, sister. We had truly turned a tragedy into a new beginning. Holding Mia, I realized how far we'd come. Later, Jake tapped a glass. "We know it's been an insane year," he began, his voice thick. "But look at us now. We started off as strangers and ended up family. So here's to second chances, to Diane and Rebecca standing together, and to our dad. Wherever he is, he brought us all together." His words echoed what I felt. Despite the pain, we were together and hopeful. Everyone raised their glasses. I felt tears in my eyes. "To all of us," I said quietly. We drank, knowing our families would never be the same again. As Mia and I left later that night, cars honking and congratulations outside, I reflected on the day. The pain of the past was still a quiet ache in my heart, but it had made room for something stronger. We took a broken family and built a new one from the pieces. We had lived through hell and emerged with laughter. At last we had found unity and hope remained always. Indeed. This story touched me deeply. Imagine finding out that your father had been living a double life for years. But the way the protagonist didn't break down, restored justice, and built a new family is a true example of strength and dignity.